Good morning. I'm Dr. Alice Vani. I'm back here with the third module of income tax where I will explain how you compute the residential status. So this module is divided into three parts. First part, I will explain the theoretical concept and one problem. The second two modules, I have worked out the problems and then you will learn that the computation. So the first part is theory. In that I included one simple problem, then the other two components also. So this is how we have developed this module. So let us learn that. So I'm going to explain the computation of residential status with the help of PowerPoint presentation. So here you can see in the PowerPoint presentation one table I have presented. One table on the left hand side you can see the category and the right hand side you can see the conditions. So residential status of an individual is divided into three categories. One is resident and ordinarily resident. Second is resident and not ordinarily resident. And third is non-resident. Now the question is why this classification is needed? Because tax liability of an individual is decided based on these classifications. So resident and ordinarily resident. 90-95% of the people living in the country will come in this category. They will attract the maximum tax liability. Second category, resident and not ordinarily resident, will attract less tax liability compared to the first category. But they will be definitely paying more than non-residents. The third category, non-residents, their tax liability is comparatively nil and in certain exceptional cases they have to pay the tax. So that is why this categorical definition or classification is needed. Now we are coming to the conditions. So first condition, if he has to be called as a resident and ordinarily resident, he has to satisfy one basic condition plus both the additional conditions. Second one, resident and not ordinarily resident. He has to satisfy one basic condition and either one additional condition or no additional conditions at all. Third one is non-resident. Non-resident meaning he is not satisfying any of the basic conditions. Now your question is, what are the basic conditions we have mentioned in this slide or what are the additional conditions? So what are the basic conditions? Section 6 subsection 1 explains the basic conditions. So this I want to tell you that this is important from the point of view of examination. When you get 2 marks question, sometimes they will ask, see what are the basic conditions for residential status. Sometimes they will not reveal that basic conditions for residential status. They will straight away ask, explain the provisions of section 6 subsection 1. So this section is important. Here it says that section basic condition, two conditions are there. One is an individual stayed in India for 182 days or more during the relevant previous year. So I lived in India throughout the year last year. So I have stayed in India for 182 days or more. So that condition I have fulfilled. Next one is stayed in India for 60 days or more during the previous year. See, that is 60 days. I was out of the country, only 2 months I was there. So that means whether I have stayed here for 60 days or more during the previous year and 365 days or more in the 4 immediately preceding previous years. So here you have to remember, I told you current financial year is your assessment year, April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021. Previous financial year is your previous year, April 1st, 2019 to March 31st, 2020. Now when you are talking about this 4 immediately preceding previous years, that means 4 financial years prior to or present previous year. See, now you will be worried about this computation and all, but when you will do the problems, it will be very clear. Now you have to remember that certain exceptions they will get for 60 days condition. So I told you basic conditions are two. One is 182 days in the previous year. Second basic condition is divided into two components. See, the first component you have to see that whether the individual is satisfying that. Then only you have to go to the second component, computation. To save time I am telling you. So here 60 days. This in the category of 3 categories are mentioned in this slide. So in this case, these people instead of 60 days, 182 days will be counted. That condition is coming in the next slide. So who are all these three categories of people? So one is Indian citizens leaving India for the purpose of employment outside India. So I always tell you that I live in Bangalore. So I come across many IT people, my friend circle, family circle, close relatives. So many people will go to foreign countries on work assignment. They may sometimes live for years together, sometimes for months together. So if a person has gone to a foreign country for employment, it can be anything. Sometimes scientists will go outside, doctors, professionals, anybody who's leaving out of the country, maybe for their employment, then we will see that his 60 days will not be the condition. In their case, we will consider 182 days. Second one is an Indian citizen who leaves India as a member of crew of an Indian ship. See, exempted income and all, we are seeing that Indian ship, foreign ship, crew members of the foreign ship, we are learning this. So Indian ship, the condition is that if a person is leaving India as a member of a Indian ship or a crew member of an Indian ship, then also they will not be considering 60 days, we will be considering the 182 days. So if a crew for a ship, meaning you have to remember that they will be traveling across the globe, different countries. So they can restrict the number of days to 182 days. So, or instead of 60 days, they will be considering 182 days. Third one is Indian citizen or a person of Indian origin who's living outside India comes on a visit to India during the previous year. Many people live abroad. So when they will come to India, maybe to visit their family, maybe to visit their parents, maybe parents are hospitalized or death of a family member, or for tourism or for Ayurvedic treatment or for any other purpose, they will come to India. So here in this case, that case also, instead of 60 days for the second basic condition, we will be considering the 182 days. So in the case of exceptions mentioned above, instead of 60 days for the basic condition, 182 days will be considered. This will be made clear when we will do the problems. Now additional conditions, section 6, subsection 6. Now this also is important from the point of view of examination. See, sometimes in section A question, they will ask what are the additional conditions for residential status computation. Or sometimes they will ask, explain the provisions of section 6, subsection 6. So that is very, very important. So here you have to remember, he or she is a resident of India. Two conditions are there. Just like basic conditions, additional conditions are also two. So first one is, he or she is a resident of India in at least 2 out of 10 previous years in the immediately preceding previous years. So this is very, very important. He or she is a resident of India. Most of the students, when we will value the papers, they will write, he lived in India. Because so far we were talking about the number of days they lived in India. This condition is very, very important. Usually when we will evaluate the papers, we will reduce marks if they are not writing it as resident. The category resident is different. Number of days stayed in India is different. So here you have to use the term resident. Very, very important. In at least 2 out of 10 previous years in the immediately preceding previous years. So you have to remember 2 out of 10. Just like I told you, the last financial year is your previous year. So when you are talking about 10 previous years, so you compare or you take 10 financial years prior to that. Say for example, 1920 is your previous year, current previous year. 1819, 1718, 1617, 1516, 1415, 1314, 1213, 11, 12, 10, 11 and 9, 10. So this will be the 10 preceding previous years. So that we will explain with the help of the problem. Next one is, he was in India for a period of 730 days or more during 7 immediately preceding previous years. So this is also important. So here you have to remember that he was in India for a period of 730 days or more during the 7 immediately preceding previous years. Same calculation, basic condition, we were taking 365. See here, additional condition, it's 730 days for 7 immediately preceding previous years. That meaning what you have to do is, 1920 is your previous year. We have to do 7 years prior to that. 1819, 1718, 1617, 1516, 1415, 1314, 1213. So 7 years. I will teach you how we will compute this. Some important points are there for the computation of residential status. First thing you have to remember, meaning of stay in India can be anywhere in India within the geographical territory. That meaning anywhere. he can stay. He can stay in a hotel, he can stay in a restaurant, he can stay in a village, he can stay in a rest house, he can stay anywhere in the geographical boundaries of the country. Anywhere from Kerala to Kashmir, it will be counted. Second thing is, stay in India need not be continuous. Some problems, when you do that, you can see that one person was here for 15 days in a month. Then he went to some other country. He came back for 10 days. Like that, different calculations will be there. So, all the number of days we will include, and we will take the total stay in India. Next one is, stay in India need not be at one place. That I told you, any state, any place, anywhere that he can stay in India. If he is present in India, that will be considered as he stayed in India for one day. Next is, object of stay is not important. Many people can come to India for different reasons: business reasons, professional reasons, treatment, Ayurvedic treatment, yoga, some dance forms if they want to learn, or if they want to visit their parents, or if they want to death of a family member, then tourist purpose, religious purpose, anything. So, object of stay, sometimes they will mention that he is coming for business purpose. So, you don't have to mention about, you don't have to worry about all that. Our computation is based on how many days he lived in India. Next is, day of arrival and day of leaving are both considered for counting the period of stay in India. This is very, very important. You have to remember that, see, if I am leaving on today's June 13th, if I am going to Dubai on June 13th also I was in India. If I am coming back on December 25th, so December 25th also I am in India. The day of leaving and the day of arrival will be considered, because sometimes the residential status will change with just one day calculation. So 181 days if you take instead of 182 days, your calculation will go wrong. So this is very, very important. You have to remember that. Now, first problem we will do. The first one is, Mr. A lived in India for 26 continuous years and went to England on April 1st, 2018. He returned to India on 15 February 2020 to take up salaried job. What is the residential status of Mr. A for the assessment year 2021? So this is a very simple problem. First problem, when you get residential status, still you will learn the concepts. Always you write what is the relevant previous year. That you know that April 1st, 2019 to March 31st, 2020. Next one you write what is the relevant assessment year. April 1st, 2020 to March 31st, 2021. Now you have to see that the first condition is number of days he lived in India in the relevant previous year. So this, it is mentioned that February 15th he came to India, February 15, 2020. That meaning you have to, if it's in between the month, you have to count the number of days stayed in India using your fingers. Count with your fingers. Then only you will get the correct value. You cannot subtract from the, see, February may have 28 days or 29 days. So 28 minus 15, you will never get the correct answer. Or 29 minus 15. In between, the break month is there, meaning count with your fingers. So 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. 15 days in February. If it's a full month, you don't have to use your fingers. Directly you can write that. So just March 31st you can write as it is, because you don't have to count. He was there in India. So 15 days and 31 days, total days you will get 46 days. So that meaning 46 days only he stayed in India. So we have to see whether he satisfied his first basic condition. First basic condition is 182 days or more during the relevant previous year. He has not satisfied. Second condition also, it's divided into two components. One is 60 days and 365 days for the 4 immediately preceding previous years. So even the second basic condition, that 60 days also he has not fulfilled. That means he was here in India only for 46 days. So that condition also is not satisfied. Therefore, he is a non-resident in India. He has not satisfied any of the basic conditions, so he is a non-resident. So this is the calculation, just one simple problem. Now, I want to tell you that, so this first module of residential status I have explained. Now you have to remember that I am going to explain 2 more modules for this. That will be exclusively for doing the problems.